Attitudable opens the door to a new world of people transforming lives and the way we do business. Today, we are honored to have with us Anne Bernard. Welcome to our show, Anne.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for your time. We are very excited to have you here today. Would you
We
like
have a lot to
to?
talk about.
Yes, a lot. Would you like to briefly introduce yourself for the people who perhaps don't know about you?
Sure thing. So I go by the master of first times. So my world revolves around first times and new experiences. So my company is 365 First Incorporated, but in that company are three different branches. So I have first time storytelling, where I teach people how to become first time storytellers so that they can express who they are through their experiences, their first time experiences, because we are the sum of our experiences and everything started with a first time. So you become a first time storyteller to share, connect, and grow closer together with people that you know and people that you meet. That way you can be more engaging and entertaining as you introduce yourself and people learn about you. Then I also have the 365 First Challenge, which is a nap and a concept that is all about maximizing what you get out of life every day through exploring doing new things. So having first times and new experiences. And then I have next level first coaching, where now there's a course to maximize what you get out of life through your new experiences. So if people are not aware, first time and new experiences are tremendous in helping us in so many different ways and becoming more creative, more spontaneous, and becoming better learners. So, improving our cognitive abilities and also raising our self awareness, our confidence, and just so many other things that we can do through first times and new experiences, to include being more mindful of our days, like what happens to us in our lives and what impacts and shapes us. So everything kind of comes together to offer you really the ultimate self development, action driven process.
Wow, that's awesome. And why the name 365 First Timers? How did you come with that name?
So the three, well, when I was thinking about my next venture, so getting back and reclaiming the title entrepreneur. So I have failed in the past as an entrepreneur and I've lost everything.
Oh,
And the concept of having people explore first time and new experiences the same way that I had, because it had changed my life so much, came to the forefront. And then when I was looking for a name, I was like, I wanted something that resonates with people, right? So I initially it got compared to the bucket list. I want to make sure it was far away from that terminology as possible. I wanted, like I said, I wanted it to be a number that was not too small, one that was we're familiar with. So 365, because 365 days in a year, we're familiar with that. And while it seems like a large number, it's actually very easy to reach 365 first. But the other thing, even like a 360 is doing a full loop. So the 365 encloses a 360, which the growth and development, becoming a new person. So doing a 360 and fully developing. So the number really resonated. And then first time, 365 first challenge. To me, a challenge is a good thing. In order for us to say, inspired and motivated and engage with life, we have to be challenged. So then came the word
wow,
challenge. So 365 First Challenge was
wow.
kind of how the name took shape.
Wow, the power of a name.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very challenging. And how the very first time is different for each one of us, right?
So a first time experience, so there a lot of first time experience are actually very common across
Mm,
human experience. So, whether it's your first time driving, your first car, your first heartbreak, your first love, your first time seeing the ocean, your first time being in snow, like there's so many first times that are relatable to everyone. So the first time you eat a certain type of food, the first time you fly, the first time you go to a different country, are all they're human experiences. Humans across the world have those experiences. So the first time storytelling really focuses on that so that people can learn from each other through the common experience and then realize, oh, because of my background, because of my culture, or because where I'm from, that experience is slightly different. And then you have first times, first time trying a certain food, a first time trying a certain activity, a certain sport, it's a laundry list to where it might be more now personality and personally driven on those first experiences. But that first experience for you is still going to have an impact. It's going to shape you some way. You're going to learn something from it. It might be different from my first experience, but the beauty is that we can still discuss it, talk about it, and we can share in that experience together. And it has, as human beings, it does have an impact on us.
no.
So there's a lot of common things, and then there's the differences between them, and that's what makes it so incredible and amazing.
Wow, yes. And sometimes fear, you know, um, I mean, prevents you from doing that or taking that step, making that leap. So it's how you also manage the different fears or personalities that people have to deal with in order to overcome that and do that first time.
Absolutely. So the journey of first time and new experiences is absolutely about facing your fears, stepping out of your comfort zones. And in the Maximize Your Journey program, we teach people how to do that. But the key to anyone who's listening is to leverage first times. If there is something you're afraid of doing or it makes you uncomfortable to do it, then, make it fun for yourself. That's the other thing with the 365 first challenge. It's like, it's
Mm,
about just doing, having the experience and not worrying about the outcome. So a lot of what is fear driven is because we're afraid of what's going to happen. And we might imagine the worst, or we tie it to other things that prevent us from actually just doing it because we scare ourselves unnecessarily. So this is about just embracing doing it, and it's going to be your first time. So you're probably going to suck at it. You might fail. You might embarrass yourself. You might look like a fool, but who cares, right? Because the point
mhm.
is to do it, to have the experience. And then if you want to do it again, you'll get better at it. If you don't have to. So the 365 first challenge it's a very fun way of embracing stepping into the unknown and joining a community of people that have that same mindset. Like, all right, we might make fools out of ourselves, we might embarrass ourselves, but we're all in the same boat. Like that's our mindset, that's our attitude towards it. But we take actions, like we get it done. We step outside of our comfort zone and we face our fears.
Yes, when I read your well of the all the content, the amazing content that you have on your web and on your different social media, it's so empowering. Like perhaps we spend a lot of time planning how we're going to do it, how we're going to face it, and we never take that next step and do it because
Just
we are
doing it.
all yes, but it's not that easy. I mean, you take a lot of things and sometimes you begin as you have it. What happens when you start doing things but you never finish them? I mean, you start with the idea of doing that, but it's get lost. It's never
So I don't
done.
it depends what it is, but I think finishing things is overrated.
Mm,
So a lot of people think, well, if I started, then I have to finish it, which is why they never start. So they never have the experience. So how do you know if it's something you want to finish if you've never started, if you've never tried? Or the thing is, you don't know until you try. You don't know if you're going to like it. You don't know if you're going to be able to finish it. You don't know if you're going to love it and then it's going to be super easy to finish it. You don't know that when you try, it ends up being a lot more difficult than you thought it was going to be, but yet it speaks to you. So you stay engaged with it. So we make all of these assumptions, but until you actually do it, that's all it is just assumptions. So, for the last 8+ years, I've lived my life of act, 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 just do it. Just, and it's been
Move forward.
surprising because yeah, certain things have, you know, been more rewarding than I thought that they would be. Certain things have been a lot more difficult than I initially thought they would be. And I didn't complete it the first time. It's like the
Yeah.
first time I tried to start a campfire, I got a lot of smoke. I did not get any fire. So I had to try it again. But then it goes back to the first time storytelling. Because I'm doing all of those things, it's a lot of stories, right? It's a lot of living. And when you do a lot of living, then you have a lot of stories to tell. And then you become a more interesting and engaging person because you've had all these different experiences. So it's not so much about finishing because everything in like we start life and we'll finish life, but everything else there's no
Yeah,
requirement
there's no
to
need. Yes.
there's
Some,
no there isn't. And I think depending on what generation that you're from, I know I was raised by my parents to not start something unless I finished it.
mm,
And now as an adult, well, guess what? I get to decide. I get to start when I'm going to start, when I'm going to finish, and how much energy I'm going to apply. And for the brain actually benefits more from starting things than from finishing them. The brain benefits more from the learning process than it does from the just doing process. So if you start something and you constantly have to keep learning to do it, then that's probably going to keep you more engaged because it's going to keep your interest. But if we start something and it gets boring, why would you keep doing something that's boring? And if you
mm.
start something and it ends up being more difficult than you thought, then you have to make those decisions. And then that's revealing things about yourself, right? It's understanding I'm not good at this particular skill. I have a decision to make to improve at this skill or to quit. Now, if I quit, I never get better at this skill. And then is it something else that you're missing in order to be good at this particular skill, right? So for me, I spent 24 years in the Marine Corps. I am a horrible shot. Like it doesn't matter if I'm what weapon I'm shooting. I'm not good at it because I'm impatient. But so I realize now that it's not that I'm not a good shooter, it's that I'm I'm not as impatient as I used to be, but it's that I'm impatient. But being impatient has also impacted my ability to do other things because my tendency is to quit because I'm too impatient. So what I needed to get was more patience. So now that I have more patience, I'm actually better at skills that in the past I thought I couldn't be good at. So it's under, it allows you to really start understanding yourself and what you need in order to succeed in the things that you do.
Yes, sometimes I think we are not conscious enough of what we are doing, of what we are capable of doing, because, as you said, of paradigms or people or family or, the interior voice that we have in our minds that is talking all the time. No, you can't do it. You can't do it. You are not good enough. You are not good enough. And how to overcome and try to, as you said, have the growth mindset and move forward despite all that noise that's preventing you from being your true self and acknowledging that, because sometimes it's difficult to be conscious.
Right. And
Mm.
you have, the noise has something to say, and you can't just ignore things. People think, oh, just, ignore it or get past it, or no, like there are steps and processes in order for you to grow, in order for you to get past what you need to get to the next level. And that's one of the biggest things that we address in the Maximize Your Journey program is the gaining the ability to do that, to have such high self-awareness that you understand like what is happening, and then how you can proceed to take actions in order to rewire your brain to get past that, to change who you are, to improve who you are, and to do that in a process that is fun, right? So if you look at trying new things as something fun and you develop your self development around that, then life becomes a lot more fun. And to me, that's life is supposed to be fun. Like
Yeah.
if you're miserable, if you're unhappy, if you're stuck, then we got to explore, what can what is in the realm of possible for you to enjoy life more. And I know right now there are a lot of restrictions, and depending where you live, more so than others. And even if the restrictions don't exist, just for your own, health and well-being, that's complicated, but there's still so many things you can do at home, so many things you can do outside, so many things that you can do online that, engages you with all that life has to offer and continues to make things very fun and interesting for you.
Yeah, that's life, what is life supposed to be, but we are sometimes we never live that life. Yeah, right.
And
Unfortunately.
that's a shame. And it's one of
Yeah.
the big reasons why I started this, was because, again, when I was looking at what am I going to do next as an entrepreneur, I asked myself, what's the one thing I'm the best at, that I'm really good at? And at that point the answer was living life. Like, I'm really good at living life because I
Yes.
travel, I try new things, and I love life, and I love experiencing life. And I realized so many people don't have that mindset, don't live that way. And they, whether they're living in fear, in their comfort zone with self limitations, I'm like, I want to help people shatter all of that so that every day they can maximize what they get out of life, and they can co-create with life and see like there's so much magic in life when you engage with living.
Yes. And what is your Start Your Journey webinar that you also have available on your site?
So, to
Just,
start your journey is an explanation of what the journey of first time in your experiences is all about.
just to
So, it's
have
a
an
free
idea.
webinar.
Mhm.
Yeah, to just explain, what it's about, what the benefits are. And then we explain more about the Maximize Your Journey program. So, it's for people to have an understanding. And you can always get started with a 365 First Challenge app. You can listen to the 365 First podcast,
Yes, it's
hear the first time
amazing.
stories, hear the experts share, expert advice for your first time, whatever that you want to do, get the right advice, set yourself up for success. And there's a lot of free content and free information, and this 365 First Challenge Facebook group where there's a team of next level first coaches that are there. And every day we encourage people, what new thing do you want to try? What's keeping you? What's holding you back? How can we help you? How can we assist you? So there's a lot of free available help and assistance for people that want to start their journey. And then if they're interested, then we go into the Maximize Your Journey program, where now they get all the information through the program, and they also get daily. So there's daily coaching that's part of that program. So if people have problems with fears, then they can go to the coaching for the day that's addressing fear, that's addressing their comfort zone. If they want to become more creative, no matter what they're working on, they can get coaching around that. So
And that's more
definitely.
tailor-made or personalized, that course.
Yes, yes. So that becomes, yes, because even though that's the beauty of the journey of first time in your experiences, is that that's a unique journey to you
Mm.
based on the areas of your life that you want to grow, that you want to improve. That might be different than for me. And then you've had a certain set of experiences. I've had a certain set of experience. So the first times I'm going to select are not going to be the same as you. So, but at the same time, we can still support and encourage each other. And then if you struggle with something that I have done, then I'm there in the community to help you, and then vice versa.
Ah, awesome. And about all this pandemic that we were talking about earlier, is this like preventing you from your normal way of doing business? Or were you able to adapt your business to this new reality that we have to face?
Yeah, so I had to change. I had to make a big pivot because my plan was, so I live in Las Vegas. A lot of people come to Las Vegas to have first time in new experiences. So my plan was to go out to all the tourists and all the visitors in Las Vegas and talk to them, as they're making their way around the city, and partner up with the businesses in the city and get them engaged with the 365 First Challenge. And then COVID happened, the city shut down, and now it's just, even though things are opening back up, it's just not still very safe to do that. So when that happened, I really had to look at, my other options. And that's, ultimately that's what brought the first time storytelling to it made that come about faster. So I
Yes.
started, a new site, and I wrote a book, How to Become a First Time Storyteller, and I create the How to Become a First Time Storyteller course. And then in January, we're going to have the first time storytelling virtual summit. So I kind of,
Wow,
I
this
had to
coming
shift.
January.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
had to I had to shift. I had to shift things quite a bit. And then it impacted me because I had my list of things that I wanted to do. By now I should know how to fly. That was on my that was
Oh,
on my list. And I had all these great things that I want to go out and do that couldn't. So I had to shift the different things that I did. And I started 365 First Challenge online events. And so I still started doing some first times, but through online. So we had
everything
an
has to
online
be
event for
online.
magic tricks. We had online events for learning how to tutting. So the tutting is a type of dancing. And so it's still, the aim is to keep having 365 First Challenge online events, and as probably, 2021, go back to being able, once there's a vaccine and all of that, go back to
Hopefully, yes.
getting back out there. But yeah, had to shift, had to adapt, had to change things a bit.
Well, like almost all of us all over
Yeah,
the
so
world.
everyone. Yeah.
But well, luckily you were able to pivot and are confidentially moving forward and with many projects, amazing projects. The storytelling app is beautiful. I mean, everybody has to try it because it's worthy. And the power of stories, right? So important. I like it a
Absolutely.
lot.
It's a really wonderful way of communicating and informing people who you are, to do it through storytelling. It's such a more engaging method of communication and expressing ourselves, and a lot of people are not familiar with storytelling. I mean, it's a very ancient, it's our first
Yes.
way of communicating with one another, and it's a skill that's been lost. So definitely looking to help people bring that back.
Yes, I'm definitely confident, and I believe that all of us have to master our own, how to tell our own stories and how to engage others, either to buy from us, and you said if you sell a service, or to listen to you. I mean, just to have their attention. Well, amazing, and I love all the work that you share, all your content, and as you said, all the people can contact you on your website. I will give your information on social media. And what's your
Yes.
favorite way? And your podcast, of course. I will write it down.
So I would say a couple. So people can check out 365firstchallenge.com and firsttimestorytelling.com. I would invite people to join the 365 First Challenge Facebook group. So it's a private Facebook group, but I invite you to join us in the group because it is so supportive and encouraging. Such a great community that's there. And then to get in touch with me, probably the best way is either through LinkedIn. So Ann Bernard on LinkedIn or on Instagram. If you look Ann Bernard on Instagram, I think it's Ann. I think I'm Ann underscore on
Yes.
Bernard on
Mhm.
Instagram.
I will write
Yeah,
everything
it's
down on the
yeah.
notes.
So that's probably some of the easiest
Best.
ways to
Mhm.
to follow and get in touch. Yeah.
Perfect. And you alone manage all your social media, or do you have help? Because there's a lot of work.
Yeah, so right now, so over the summer, I was blessed. I had a couple interns, I had a few interns that was a huge help. But right now it is, yeah, it's primarily all me. So some content I need to refresh because I've been so busy doing the first time storytelling course and the new website and everything. So now I'm going back to, okay, I need to jump back on social media. So I will be
Wow.
back to being more active on social media because it is just me and I can only do so much at once.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. And also your book. We have to read your book, your new
Yes,
book.
absolutely. And
Yes,
like you were saying, I will have it. It is on the list to get it translated. So right now it is only
awesome.
available in English,
In
but in the
English.
future the plan is definitely to get it translated.
And is it we can buy it in Amazon, or I will also provide
Yes,
the
on
link
Amazon. So, yeah.
on
So if you go
Amazon
from firsttimestorytelling.com, it's very easy from there to click
and move
to
forward.
get. But the recommendation, if you're interested in the storytelling and becoming a first time storyteller, then I would say to buy. If you purchase the virtual summit, you
Mhm.
get immediate access to the course and you get the ebook for free as part of getting into
It's
the summit.
part of the
So
package, so it's all
yeah, so
okay.
right away you can go in and start the course, read the book, and by the time the summit comes, then you're already more experienced, is more knowledgeable, and you listen to the summit and get all of that additional great information. Yeah,
And with your help, we will be more confident and self-assured.
exactly.
Yes.
And everyone is invited to come on the First Time Storytelling broadcast. So do check out the firsttimestorytelling.com website and get involved and then come on and share one of your stories on the broadcast. So it's a great way to, try your hand at storytelling.
Yes. Be visible and have your
Yeah,
voice be heard.
exactly.
Well, thanks a lot, Anne. It's been a pleasure having you today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.